For most of my life, I felt like I was losing a battle with laziness. Like, I would always try to do things and be productive and spend my time growing, but like I couldn't get up out of bed to do anything productive. And I would always hear that advice, like, just do it, just get up. It's all in the mind. You can beat it. Just start doing it, stick to it, discipline yourself, and you can achieve more. But like, I would try that, and it never happened. It never worked for me. And the reason it didn't work was because that's the worst advice anybody could ever get. And it took until I learned these 4 fundamental things that will help you become more productive that I'm finally the person who can be out here going for a walk. Like, it is right now 7:21 a.m. I've been walking for 23 minutes. I'm going to be out here for 40 more minutes. And then I'm going to come back and go to work, do my job, come off, read, meditate, work out, and just have a productive rest of my evening. How did I make that transformation? How can you, with these 4 fundamental things you have to understand about productivity? Now, when you get these 4 things and you use them in your life, like you actually use them, I'm telling you, you're never going to struggle with motivation, because you're always going to want to do stuff. You'll know exactly what a day of productivity looks like for you, and you'll be doing it. And you'll no longer be falling for the lie that productivity is just about doing it. No, there's a lot more that goes into productivity that not a lot of people are talking about. And I'm going to talk about that here. So the first thing I want to talk about, it is very fundamental. You've heard this so many times before. And the reason you're hearing it again is because it is ultimate, like it is the step one, no, not even step 1, this is step 0, okay? This is literally the reason why I'm out here walking right now. Like, why I prioritize coming out here to do a 3-mile walk before work every single day. Why? Because your health matters. Step 1 is you got to improve your health. And I know you've heard this before, but it's important. It matters. And I learned how much this matters when, like, a couple years back, I took my car to get gas. I have a Honda Accord. I had a Honda Accord, and it died on me 3 months ago. Rest in peace, Charlie. But I went to get gas, and there were 2 gas stations. One was full, okay? There were lines, and I said, well, I'm not gonna go there. And then the next one was empty. I'm like, you guys suck. You guys are lame. Like, you guys don't understand. I'm finna, like, finesse. So instead of waiting at the long line gas station, I went to the other gas station, and I went to fill my car up with gas. Now, the only issue was the little gas hose you put in the tank, it didn't fit. Like, it did not fit. And I'm like, okay, well, if it don't fit, then I'll just angle it and let the gas leak in. And that's literally what happened. So I got the gas, drove off. I'm thinking, yeah, y'all suck. Y'all don't understand that I just finessed the whole system. But then 20 minutes passed, and my car started acting up. It started, like, shaking, like it had bronchitis, like it's coughing. It's like doing things I never thought it could ever do. And I'm over here thinking, is my car dying on me? Like, what the heck happened? So I drive home. My dad comes out. He looks at the car, and he's inspecting it, because I told him, I don't know what's wrong. He's like, what gas did you put in it? I'm like, I don't know. I just went to a gas station. He said, you put diesel in it, didn't you? Like, what do you mean? What? He's like, yeah, you did. He said, look, your car's not going to die. All I'm going to do is drive it around, and I'm going to burn out the gas that's in it, the diesel, and then replace it with the right gas. And that's literally what he did. Like, he just drove it around, burned out the bad gas. And the diesel gas, by the way, is made for boats and trucks. Like, it's not made for my small car. So he drove it around, burned it out, put the right gas in, and it operated smoothly. It was fine. Now, talking about us now, we as humans, we're like little cars, right? Driving to the destination we want to be. And for most of us, that destination is being more productive. Okay, well, how are you going to drive to where you want if you're putting the wrong gas in it? And that's what most of us are doing. Most of us are putting the wrong foods inside our bodies. And then we wonder why we aren't being as productive as you want to be, why we don't feel like doing anything. Jim Rohn, this really big, like, speaker, motivational speaker, business owner, like, the guy who changed my life with his ideas. He wrote in the book, some people don't do well just because they don't feel well. Like, health is so fundamental. You got to get the right gas in you so that you can drive to where you want. So how can you improve your health? The 3 factors is getting more sleep. Get at least 7 hours of sleep. And kind of figure out like what works for you. 8 hours is the best amount of sleep I can get. 6 is bad for me. 7 is okay. But 7 upward. 7 to 9. Find how much sleep works for you. Number 2 is movement. Move more. There's a reason why I'm out here. There's a reason I'm walking out here for an hour. Because movement is good for the human body. So I need to make sure it moves every single day. Getting fresh air. Being out in nature. Getting the sunlight. I know you're thinking there's no sunlight. But like, the sun's out there. It's just, you can't see it. But it's out there. Like our senses are picking it up. But yeah, get some more movement in. You don't have to go to the gym to work out to be healthy. You just need to move more. That's it. And number 3, the biggest thing is, well, sleep is the biggest. And then your diet. Eat more whole, single ingredient foods. Like, that's the easiest way to eat healthier. Literally, if you go to a grocery store, buy something that has 1 ingredient, like apples. You look at the ingredient list and apples. You look on the ingredient list of chicken thighs. You look at the ingredient list of sweet peas. Now, if you pick up a bag of Doritos, you're going to see 15 ingredients, and you can't read one of them. Don't eat that. That's horrible food for you. And also cut out the junk food, cut out the sweets. Now, I can go into way more detail on health, but I'm not right in this video because I don't want to make it too long. It's going to be long anyway. But like, you know. But I can make a video on health if that's something you're interested in. Well, I will, because I like that. But anyway, health. That's the first thing. That's the first fundamental to becoming more productive. Now, imagine if you are like really sick. Like, you're not really sick, but like you have a cold. You got a cough, runny nose. When you're sick, do you feel like doing anything, or do you feel like laying around? You feel like laying around because you don't feel good. But now think about when you do feel good. Imagine feeling the most health you've ever felt. You have energy flowing through you. You don't have any back pain. You don't have any brain fog, none of that stuff. You feel alive. Imagine how, like, you feeling that would motivate you to get up and actually get moving. Like, you'll actually be more productive because now you feel like you can actually get up and be more productive. So that's the first thing you got to cover. And if your health isn't good, just go ahead and stop this video. And, well, actually, no, because fundamental 2, the second thing we're going to talk about is actually very important, too, that you got to focus on, too. And then when you get the second thing, if your health isn't good, then click off the video and focus only on those 2 things. And then come back to this video later on to get the other 3. So number 2 is human biology. You have to understand human biology. And this, honestly, is so fucking important. Ooh. I didn't mean to cuss. It's too bad. It's too late now. It's really important because human biology literally is a study of how humans work. Okay? And one of the things in human biology that we can actually increase and decrease depending on the chemicals we have inside of us is motivation. And on step 3, we'll talk about how to improve. Did I hear a dog? I think I heard a dog. I'm turning around. Heck no, because I was just walking and the dog came out at me. I'm spooked. I'm going back. But if I hadn't turned around, we were going to keep going back there. But hold on, there's your car. Okay, so anyway, back to what I was saying. Human biology is the study of how of humans work, and one factor we can study is literally motivation. So what this means is motivation is a chemical that we can influence. And this was fundamental. This is mind-blowing to me because I always thought that to do stuff, I had to feel like it, but I felt like I could never control whether or not I felt like it. You know, like, I couldn't control when I had motivation. It just came and went. Like this car. Don't hit me, please. Please don't hit me. But, I always thought motivation was something that came and went, and you couldn't control when it came, but when it came, you got up and did stuff. And some people have more motivation than me, and I felt like I could never change that until I learned that motivation isn't something that just comes and goes. It's something you literally control through a chemical named dopamine. Now, if you ever heard of dopamine, Most people hear about it when it comes to pleasure. Like, you watch a funny video, you laugh, dopamine releases, pleasure. You feel pleasure. You eat some chocolate cake and it tastes good, dopamine releases in your brain, you feel pleasure. So a lot of people thought that dopamine was for pleasure, but come to find out, dopamine isn't for pleasure. Dopamine is for motivation. And I'm not going to dive too deep into the science. Well, actually, I will, because we have time. And this is really important. So when I learned about dopamine, I learned about it through Andrew Huberman. He's a neuroscientist. You may have heard of him, but he's got a huge, I think he has like 2 million followers on YouTube. He teaches at Yale or Harvard. I think it's Yale. But anyway, I was watching the podcast by Andrew Huberman. He was talking about how to improve motivation, all that good jazz, and dopamine came up. And he gave this experiment that literally changed my entire life. So in this experiment, scientists want to find out if dopamine was needed for pleasure, because we always assume dopamine is the pleasure chemical. And one scientist was like, is it? So to do this, they took 2 rats. In one rat, they took away all its dopamine, and then the other rat, dopamine is in there. They each gave the rats a piece of cheese, and both rats liked it, because rats do something with their mouth that signals that they like what they're eating. But anyway, so the idea that dopamine was for pleasure was completely thrown out the window. So now the scientist was like, well, what is dopamine for then? And so then they moved the cheese that the rat was eating away from the rat. And the rat with dopamine went to get the cheese. And the rat without dopamine did not go to get the cheese. In fact, it would have just died there. Like, it would just sit there and die if the scientists did not pick the cheese up and let the rat eat it. So what the scientists concluded was that dopamine is not needed for pleasure. It's needed to get the thing that gives you pleasure. Dopamine is the driving force to get what you want. I see some deer up front, and I hate seeing deer because I'm always afraid they're gonna, like, when they realize they're stronger than me and, like, kill me. So I see deer up there and it's foggy, so pray that they don't turn on me, I guess. But anyway, dopamine is the chemical we control that makes us go towards what we want. And that's a function of human biology that literally is scientifically proven. And this is why just be productive is the worst advice you can ever get, because just saying be productive does not take into consideration how the mind works and allowing you to be, how not the mind, but the body works and allowing you to be productive. Because if you don't have the dopamine inside of you, you're not going to be productive. So the next question is, how do you lose dopamine? And how can you get more dopamine? Because the more dopamine you have, the more productive you'll be. Well, number 1 is focus on your health. And we already talked about that in the first step. That's why I'm saying health, not the first step, but step 0. Health is literally the most important thing that you can cover. So just make sure you're taking care of your health. But how do you lose dopamine? Basically, dopamine releases whenever you experience something pleasurable. And you can experience a lot of pleasure and lose a lot of dopamine, or a normal amount of pleasure and release a normal amount of dopamine. This walk is a normal amount of pleasure that's releasing a normal amount of dopamine. But things that are highly stimulating, like if I was sitting on my phone scrolling and watching highly engaging clips that just was so stimulating, I would be releasing a lot of dopamine in a short amount of time, especially because I can watch thousands of clips in like an hour, especially on TikTok. And so the more you release big dumps of dopamine in your brain and body, the less dopamine you have. And again, this is something I'll have to explain, like each foundation for productivity needs a video in itself, and that single video has to be an hour. Like, it has to at least be an hour for me to really get into the nitty-gritty of it. But I want to give you just a understanding, like a general landscape of what will help you with your productivity. And then in later videos, I will cover each pillar and go into deep detail, or you can study it for yourself. Anyway, I'm giving you the map right now. So how do you lose dopamine? I said it's whenever you do something fun, pleasurable. You lose a lot of dopamine when you do a lot of highly stimulating things. Taking drugs, cocaine, these are very highly stimulating. Sex, highly stimulating. Not to say you can't have sex, but understand that, you know, the more sex you have, the less dopamine you have. So, like, that's why a lot of, you know, successful people, especially businessmen, they practice semen retention because they understand that, you know, holding in their semen on like a biological level, it keeps their dopamine inside of them, so then they'll be more driven to succeed in business. Anyway, how do you get more dopamine? You get more dopamine by allowing your dopamine to recharge. That's it. It's like, if you had a phone and you're on FaceTime all the time, you know your phone battery is going to die really fast. If you're on Snapchat, TikTok, it's going to die really fast. The only way to recharge it is to get off those apps and literally just let your phone recharge on the charging port. And the same thing applies to you. You have to stop doing so many highly stimulating things. You have to take a break from like watching so much TV and always being on your phone, drinking a lot, smoking all the time. Like, you have to take a break from all that stuff to allow your dopamine to recharge. And it's going to be boring. It's going to be so boring. So freaking boring. You're going to want to die. Only for the first 3 days though. And then like when you get past that, you'll start to readjust, and then like doing things like this, you'll have to drive to do it and it'll be fun to you. Reading, working on your business, improving yourself, learning more, those things will literally become so easy to you. You'll want to do it because your dopamine, the molecule that allows you to have the drive to actually get up to get the thing you want, you'll have it and you'll actually go out and do it. To make it more concrete for you, I want you to imagine like I told you to stare at a boring wall. That's it. And you spent the entire day looking at it. If I let you out of that room and said, hey, you can either stare at that boring wall, or you can come out and help me clean the bathroom, you would hop at the chance to clean the bathroom. You would feel like that would seem like the funnest thing to you on this planet Earth. Why? Because staring at that boring wall literally did nothing to release dopamine inside of you. Literally nothing. There was nothing high stimulating, and so your dopamine literally had time to recharge. And then when I asked you, hey, you want to clean the bathroom, you had enough dopamine that your response instead was, I don't feel like it. It was like, yeah, I'll do it. That's fine. Let's chill. And that was like a very drastic explanation. And like, if you're into neuroscience, you'll be like, Faith, like there's so much things, like you're not explaining it fully. I'm not explaining it fully because I don't have much time in this video. But I want you to just get a clear-cut idea of how important dopamine is and why you have to preserve it. Now you have your health in check. You know that dopamine is so important for having the drive and motivation to do what you want to do, because there's so many things we all want to do that we're not doing, and most of the time it's because our dopamine is low. And you know how to keep dopamine and how dopamine leaves. I'm pretty sure that I didn't give it step 3, but hey, this video is not going to be perfect. So going on to the last step, which is basically to plan out your day. So to be more productive, you have to literally know what productivity looks like to you. And to know what productivity looks like to you, you got to know what do you want to do. For me, productivity looks like reading. It looks like walking. It looks like hanging with my friends and family, spending time with them. It looks like learning. It looks like existing, like literally just existing and doing nothing. So you got to figure out what productivity means to you, and the good way to do that is to make a list of what you'd like to do, like and things you want to do but you're not doing, and then just pick 3 things you want to spend time doing. That's it. And that'll give you kind of a baseline so that when you wake up you can think, okay, today instead of getting on my phone and scrolling and doing nothing with my time, I'm gonna go for a walk because I wrote down I wanted to go for a walk. Cool. Then after the walk, you can have your breakfast, you can eat something, and then when you're chilling, you can say, okay, well, what else did I say I want to do today? Oh, I said I want to clean my room. I'm going to clean my room. And then you do 3 things, and then for the rest of the day, you can just exist. don't be on your phone, remember? Because being on your phone all the time will drain you of your dopamine. So then your drive to do the hard things will be gone. So you got to figure out a way to exist without draining your dopamine. And that's another video for another day. But yeah, just write down 3 things you want to do and then do it. And that's so fun that the entire concept of this video is by saying being productive is horrible advice, and then towards the end I say just do it. But if you focus on your health and you improve your dopamine, it will be easier to just do it. Like me going out for this walk, it's easy for me to just do it because I am healthy and my dopamine is pretty high. It's pretty freaking high. So yeah.